She's lying. Look at that horrific mark on her shoulder. She didn't get that saving lives. She probably got it crashing a truck because she's incompetent. Stop looking at her like she's some kind of hero. My brother's mocking voice sliced through the air, amplified by the microphone he held. The cheerful chatter inside the crowded country club pavilion dropped into a dead, suffocating silence. 83 guests, local politicians, corporate executives, and our entire extended family, froze, turning their heads to stare directly at me. My brother Austin Vance stood on the small stage, his face flushed with expensive wine. He was celebrating his election to the city council, a campaign built entirely on my back. Beside him stood our mother, fully nodding along with an ugly, self-righteous smirk. I stood near the buffet table, wearing a sleeveless formal dress. The jagged, silver combat scar running from my collarbone down to my shoulder was fully visible. "Austin, stop," I whispered, my chest tightening as 83 pairs of eyes burned into my skin. "You know exactly how I got that scar." "Oh, go-e." Austin laughed into the microphone, a brutal, mocking sound. "You spent your time in the Air Force hiding in air-conditioned offices while I worked 80 hours a week building a real business and funding this family. You're just a pathetic liar trying to steal my spotlight. Cover that disgusting skin up and get out of my gala, Harper. You're an eyesore and a total loser." Whispers broke out across the room instantly. Did she really fake a military injury? How pathetic. Austin is right, she's trying to make his big night about her. What a disgrace to the family. My mother stepped up to the microphone, her voice cold. "Do what your brother says, Harper. You've always been a bitter, jealous girl. Leave before we call security." A sharp, physical wave of humiliation hit me. My hands began to shake. I was an Air Force captain, an elite flight nurse who had pulled bleeding soldiers out of burning helicopter wreckage under heavy enemy fire. That scar was from shrapnel that tore into my shoulder, while I shielded a wounded private with my own body. I couldn't breathe. The emotional betrayal was a physical blade twisting in my heart. I turned on my heel and walked out of the pavilion, hearing my brother raise a toast to his own greatness as the heavy glass doors swung shut behind me. But the nightmare was only beginning. The moment I stepped onto the dark asphalt of the parking lot, my phone vibrated brutally. It was a text from Austin. "By the way, failure. Mom just signed over the deeds to grandfather's lakeside cabins to my corporate name. Your inheritance is officially wiped out. Don't bother going back to your cabin tonight. The locks are already changed. Your things are in the dumpster." My jaw dropped. Before I could even process the stolen property, my banking app flashed an emergency alert. Alert! High priority defense credit line frozen. Secondary authorization user. Evelyn Vance has withdrawn $75,000 for corporate consulting fees. My mother had just completely cleaned out my entire operational savings account. Money I had earmarked for my next deployment cycle. They were destroying my life in real time. They thought I was a helpless target. They genuinely believed I was just a low-level medical clerk, because I never bragged about my rank or my medals. But their blindness was a fatal mistake. They called me a parasite. They called me a liar. They had absolutely no clue that Austin's entire real estate firm and his current political campaign were entirely funded by the very sister he just threw out. 2 years ago, Austin had illegally mismanaged his client's investment funds. He was facing immediate federal indictment and 20 years in prison. My mother had called me, screaming and sobbing into the phone. "Harper, please. If Austin goes to jail, our family name is finished. He made a mistake, but you have that military trust money. You have to save your brother." Because I loved them, and because I valued family loyalty above everything, I intervened. I didn't just lend them money. I used my grandfather's deep military inheritance and my active duty hazard bonuses to secretly buy out his toxic corporate debts through a private military credit union. I became the 100% silent owner of his company, hiding my name behind a secure defense LLC to keep his pride intact. My mother knew every single detail, but she begged me to keep it from Austin so he wouldn't feel inferior. And this was my reward. They stole my cabins, drained my credit line, and mocked my combat scars in front of 83 people. Suddenly, my phone buzzed again. It was a link sent by a fellow officer. I clicked it. My mother had just posted a status online for our entire hometown to see. Tonight, my ungrateful daughter Harper tried to assault her brother Austin at his victory gala. Because of her deep jealousy, she even faked a scar to look like a hero. We have officially disowned her. She is a dangerous fraud. The local comments were already piling up, destroying my career reputation. In that exact split second, the pain in my chest died. It was replaced by a cold, lethal, razor-sharp military focus. They didn't just want my money. They wanted to erase my honor. They wanted a war with an Air Force captain? They just cleared a runway for a bomber. I looked up toward the edge of the parking lot. Sitting quietly under the dim streetlights was a heavy, matte black government vehicle with tinted windows. The engine was purring. I noticed a rigid, sharp-looking driver in a dark suit watching me from the front seat, talking quietly into a secure radio. Someone incredibly high-level was monitoring me tonight. I didn't know who sent them yet, but it was time to activate my counter-strategy. I dialed my military advocate. Marcus. They just forged the cabin deeds, cleared the defense line, and launched a public smear campaign. Execute the immediate asset forfeiture. Liquidate the firm. Now. With pleasure, Captain, Marcus replied coldly. We are already moving. 10 minutes later, I slammed the heavy double doors of the country club pavilion back open. I walked down the center aisle, my posture perfectly straight, my eyes locked onto the stage. The moment Austin saw me, he groaned into the microphone. Are you kidding me? The fraud is back. Hey security, drag this psycho out of here right now. My mother rushed forward, her face twisted in rage. You stupid girl. I told you to leave. The police are already on their way to lock you up for assault. The 83 guests turned, staring at me with pure disgust, murmuring loudly about the fake hero. I didn't flinch. I'm not leaving Austin, I said, my voice cutting through the microphone's echo with absolute authority. But you might want to check your corporate bank accounts. Right now. What are you talking about, you worthless? Austin started, but suddenly, his campaign manager rushed onto the stage, holding a tablet, his face completely pale. He whispered frantically into Austin's ear. Austin's smug smirk instantly shattered. He dropped his wine glass, and it shattered across the stage floor. What? No. That's impossible. All our corporate assets are frozen? Our campaign funding is gone. It's not a mistake, Austin. A loud, thunderous voice roared from the entrance of the ballroom. Everyone spun around. Walking into the pavilion was the towering figure from the black vehicle. He was wearing an immaculate, crisp Air Force dress uniform, his chest covered in rows of legendary combat medals. On his shoulders gleamed the undeniable, massive silver eagle of a full colonel. It was Colonel Vance Granger, the regional commander of military asset protection, and my direct superior. The 83 guests instantly gasped. Multiple city officials in the crowd stood straight up, their faces turning white with fear. My mother staggered back, trying to force a fake, trembling smile. Colonel Granger. Sir, this is just a little family misunderstanding. My daughter here has some mental issues from her service. Silence. Colonel Granger Barqued. The sheer power of his voice made my mother physically jump back in terror. Colonel Granger marched right past her, stopped directly in front of me, and brought his hand up to his brow in a flawless, razor-sharp salute. Captain Harper Vance, Colonel Granger announced loudly, ensuring every single person in the room heard every syllable. On behalf of the United States Air Force and the Department of Defense, I want to personally apologize for the disgusting conduct of these civilians. The combat scar on your shoulder was earned while you saved 4 American soldiers from a burning crash. You are a decorated hero, and the Pentagon will not allow your honor to be defiled by parasites. The room erupted into a wave of horrified gasps. An Air Force captain? She actually saved lives. Oh my God, what did Austin say to her? They lied to us. Marcus, my legal advocate, stepped up right behind the colonel, opening a heavy briefcase and tossing a stack of certified federal documents directly onto the table in front of Austin's main political donors. Austin Vance, Marcus stated clearly, 2 years ago, your company was bankrupt due to your own illegal fraud. The entity that saved you, Vanguard Defense LLC, is entirely owned and funded by Captain Harper Vance's combat salary. Because you and your mother committed grand larceny tonight by illegally transferring deeds and draining a protected defense line, your contract is permanently terminated. Marcus turned to the donors and politicians. As of 10 minutes ago, the Vance Real Estate Group is fully liquidated, and Austin Vance is officially disqualified from corporate and political funding due to active federal theft investigations. No. Mom, do something. Austin screamed, collapsing onto the stage stairs, clutching his head as his entire life, career, and political future turned to ash in front of the town's elite. My mother dropped to her knees, crying hysterically, reaching out toward me. Harper, sweetie, please, we are your family. Your brother will go to jail. We will lose everything. Please tell them it's a mistake. I walked up to the edge of the stage, looking down at my weeping mother and broken brother. The emotional pain that had crushed me for years was entirely gone. In its place was a beautiful, unyielding wall of self-respect. You told 83 people I was a liar, Austin. I said, my voice icy calm and incredibly powerful. You told everyone my combat scars were a fake disgrace. I looked at my mother, who was trembling on the floor. The truth is, my scars paid for your freedom, your business, and your house. But tonight, I am taking it all back. You have 24 hours to pack your trash bags and get out of my properties. Don't ever call me family again. Austin wept openly into his hands, completely ruined. My mother covered her face in absolute social shame as all 83 guests began running for the exits, completely abandoning the fraudulent Vance family. Within minutes, the Grand Pavilion was a ghost town. Colonel Granger smiled proudly, lowering his salute. Excellent execution, Captain. Your transport is waiting. Let's get you back to the base where true heroes are respected. Thank you, sir, I replied, stepping out into the cool night air, leaving the tears and shattered egos behind. I spent my entire life destroying my own boundaries to buy the love of a family that only valued greed and status. But as I watched the flashing lights of the police cruisers pull into the country club driveway, I finally understood the ultimate lesson. You can never cure a toxic family with your own sacrifice. True honor means knowing your worth, drawing an unbreakable line, and letting karma handle the rest.